First session fishing in over a month because I had the lurgy. Let's see how today goes. Here we are, Lower Lough Erne. Spot of feeder fishing. Not been so bad so far. I had a couple of decent hybrids and I've had a bream. But it's nice to be just throwing bait again. Quick run through of the gear that I'm using. I'm using the old faithful 12-foot 8 60-gram Dutch master rod with the Preston Innovations Extremity 620 reel. The feeder braid that Preston do, down to a 12 pound shock leader, and I'm using a newer type of feeder today. I'm using one of these. These are made by Cresta, but they're called jail feeders because they've got the top of them where you can just cram a lot of particles in, and there's a little cage that stops all the stuff coming out. So you're putting a lot of particle in, which is good. I have no shortage of particles today because my bait fridge malfunctioned and froze everything. So I'm fishing with castor, maggot and, well, corn and hemp, you know. Unfortunately the worms, they went frozen, so they're all dead. It's my own fault. I had a barbecue for the baby. It was her first birthday. And we used the bait fridge for the beer. And I never thought to adjust the settings back to bait fridge. Oh well, it's obviously working. We're catching fish. I've had 3 fish so far. You know, 2 decent hybrids and a bream. Beautiful day. I'm sat watching dark clouds kind of coming in over there and over there, so I'm wondering when the dark cloud's going to come and hit us. But it isn't a bad day so far. I'm enjoying it. I'm not by myself today. I am the responsible adult for the day is Steve, who's fishing below me. He's had a couple of decent hybrids as well too. But just taking it nice and easy. Oh, feeder was a kilo of Sensas Black Brooch or Guan Noir Gardons or Gardons Noire, Grand Gordon, or big, basically French for big roach. That's the one that smells of very lovely dark chocolate. I added a good glug of Brasem liquid into it. I have dead maggots, I have castor, corn and hemp for particles and for hooks. I was fishing with start off fishing with a little Gamakatsu fine wire size 12 to a 5 pound fluorocarbon hook length, but I was missing bites, or I was connecting but the bites were popping out. Oh, there's a bite. That feels a bit better. Where I'm fishing there's a big bloody ledge and I'm trying to, that's off. It's off. And I'm trying to pump the fish above the ledge, but we're losing fish on the ledge. I changed the hook to a size 12 Kamsan animal hook. They're a lot heavier than the fine wire one I was using. Still got a 5 pound hook length, but we're throwing now to try and hold them and drag them over this ledge. Not fishing far out. and it is 15 seconds from when the feeder hits the water to it sinks to the bottom. So somebody with more brains than me can work out what a 30 gram feeder falling 15 seconds, what sort of depth that gives you. It's a decent enough depth. Lots of boat traffic, but it's what you expect in the weekend, in the summertime. The manor house must be making a fortune renting their boats, because about 10 of them fucking went past it just about 10 minutes ago. We have some pike anglers out in front of us. Always concerned me, you know, fishing for pike in the summer. It's not something I'd recommend, if I'm honest with you. Because pike fight so hard in the summer, they build up a lot of lactic acid in the muscles. In summertime, with the water temperatures being higher, that means there's less oxygen in the water, so it's just harder for the pike to recover. For me, pike are strictly an autumn through to spring fish. After that, they're left alone. You know, I wouldn't have a problem with guys. In fact, I don't have a problem with anyone fishing. You know, but with the summertime, if you really must fish for pike in the summer, I wouldn't be using light gear, I'd be using heavy gear. I would bully the fish to get them in as quick as physically possible, and then I would let them recover for a suitable period of time on like a floating sling beside the boat. That way you're giving them the best chance of going back okay. I understand that if you're guys, I mean, there's guys out fish for perch on the loch and catfish for trout on the loch. I can understand that if you're trolling, you know, you accidentally pick up a pike, you don't really have a choice. You know, you got to play it with what you have. But if you're purposely going out to catch pike, then don't be scared to go heavy and bully them. Don't use fluorocarbon leaders either. They're shite. Absolute shite. I don't get why there's a trend for fluorocarbon with lure guys. You know, pike aren't leader shy. I've never had a 100-pound titanium leader break, but I've seen it all the time where, you know, guys throwing 150-pound fluorocarbon leaders coming back shredded and bit off. The last one I seen was a guy throwing a Morris mouse. That's a 40 quid lure that's just been left in the face of a pike because his fluorocarbon leader got bit off. Don't know about you, but if I was throwing lures at £40 a piece, I'd damn sure be wanting to bring them back in again. But it's not a bad day. I'm going to cast out again. The key to this sort of fishing is keep putting the bait in, keep putting the bait in. Eventually the fish will find you and stick to the bait. So
20 minutes later.
This is the issue when you have a nice day on the loch with the humans. That's one of the more respectable ones. When you get them kind of cutting past you at the end of your rod length and it gets a bit hairy. I had to change the shock leader. It got shredded. I'm not sure if you can see that, but you see all those little light things coming off the main line? That's where the shock leader is grinding over rocks, and if you run your fingers along it, it's definitely been chewed up. Where I'm fishing, like the ledge literally drops like that there, so I'm having to bring fish over the ledge, which means that they're getting it's hard on your gear. It is hard on your gear. But this is just a normal standard 12-pound shock leader. And this is like a up close and personal look at my feeder rig. Start off with a little bead here. Now bearing in mind this has obviously been cut. This is a loop, standard loop tied. Then you end up with a little bit of line that's twisted. Twizzled loops, they aren't complicated. Hold one end of the line after you've tied your loop and just start to run it with your fingers. And it'll twist up. And then you slide on your little buffer bead. It goes against that little knot there, it can't go any further. And then you have your, see that's where your line has been destroyed by the zebra mussels. But this will slide up and down. On that little clip you attach your feeder, and this little bit at the end is just to stop your feeder kind of when you're putting new bait on, to stop your feeder zipping all the way down to the end of your rod. I try to save these little rubber things. It's not hard to do. I mean, if you get, I get a needle and thread, push the needle through it, thread through it, back again, back on ahead, so that you've went through it twice with the needle. You've left a little loop of thread, and then you can try and thread it back onto the little dispenser that they come from. Yes, that can be considered cheap. But for a while there, especially with the whole woo flu shit, getting hold of stuff like that was kind of difficult. So there, that's my basic running feeder rig. Oh. Humans. You guys are too close to the shore. You're far too close. The whole fucking loch, and they decide to troll right on top of you. Summertime on the Erne.
Just then.
That's just what we need right in front of my fucking peg. Right in front of me, where I'm fishing. Just what I need. Marvellous, isn't it? Marvellous. Now we're going to get the wake from the boat. Using this some of the bream I've caught, I've been cracking bream, so I'm not complaining. This is my 100th vlog, not including the the tackle reviews and other stuff I've done. This is the 100th vlog of the channel. The 100th vlog was meant to be a couple of weeks, well, about a month and a half ago. I spent a day fishing on Lough Erne down in County Leitrim. But the wind was literally, it was awful. I had 3 fish. We went down there was myself, Cecil and a few others. Cecil and Gareth. And wind was in your face the whole day. There wasn't an awful lot caught. And in the end we called time on it and left early. The only good part about that day was it was a good trip down to the Irish tackle and bait shop, or the bait farm, the farm where they make the maggots. I picked myself up a big bag of black crumb because I was running out of black crumb. But it was a good day. Well, apart from the fishing being shit, but the wind, it's been a strange one with the wind. When we first arrived today, the wind was in our face, and then the wind shifted so that it was heading towards Cash, and then it shifted again so it was heading towards Enniskillen, and now it's back into our faces. So the wind's changed 3 or 4 times today. If only really had, it'd only really be 2 periods where it was drizzling and raining. But because it's relatively overcast, this is why I think we're catching bream. Both myself and Steve are actually catching bream and hybrids, so we're doing well. Fishing similar approaches but in different ways. I'm fishing deep into the bottom of the drop off, whereas Steve's fishing on this side of the drop off, so he's fishing before it drops into the shelf. Really liking these Cresta feeders. You can really pack the particles into them. I have them from 30 to 60, so 40s, 50s and 60s. Just got them to kind of give them a try out. In other news, I'm not quite as deaf as I was, which is great. My hearing's coming back. Only I could blow out a fucking eardrum from coughing. It was a rough couple of days, couple of months, or a couple of weeks even. Coughed that much I was coughing up blood. And I coughed that much I popped an eardrum. And then tore all my throat from all the coughing. The medics had said to me that the antibiotics, the first 2 loads of antibiotics they gave me, the doctor's words were they may as well have been Smarties because they would never have touched it. So I got it intravenous, big injection. And because you get like a big heavy antibiotic into you, it kind of fucks with everything else in your body. You get nauseous, get headaches. When you go to take a piss, it's like trying to piss liquid fire. But apart from that, the worst of it is over, thank fuck. It was that bad I had to take a week off work at one point. Couldn't talk, couldn't swallow. Pretty shit, if I'm honest.
More moments later.
Number 10 now. That is 6 bream and 4 hybrids. The wind's just changed directions again. When we first started, as I said, it kind of was blowing, you know, nice into our face. Then it went towards the skill, and then it went that way, then it went this way again. And that's off. If it's on, it's very small. That off. Every now and then there's a flurry, there's like 2 or 3 good bites, or 2 or 3 bites, and I land 1 fish out of the bites. And it isn't because I'm doing anything, you know, kind of wrong, it's just because I'm hitting that ledge, and it's just ripping the fish off the hook. It's just knocking the fish completely off the hook. There's not much you can do about it. You just have to put new bait on, throw the bait out again. Some of my maggots that get froze come back to life, so today is not a complete fishing with dead bait session, but it didn't help that the fucking bait fridge froze everything. Half a kilo of fucking worm gone. That's how I thread my bait on the hooks. I have a maggot that goes right up the shank of the hook, and then I have like 3 dangling. Well, they're not really dangling, but they're, you know what I mean, they're there. That's a healthy handful of caster into the feeder. Like so. These feeders are quite good. I'm actually really liking them. And then you just plug the arse end up with ground bait. And there you go, you have a feeder that's packed full of freebies and plugged up with ground bait. Slime. Oh. I'm having to really thump to get the distance because the wind's going that way. It's not so bad here because we're kind of sheltered by this point, but out in the middle it is definitely pushing a little bit harder. So I might change to a window feeder. Window feeders are good. They really punch out through the wind. Or I could try a rocket feeder. Again, those are going to fly out through the wind because their weight's in the arse end. So the only problem with something like this here over something like this is by the time that hits the bottom, there's not going to be much ground bait in it. Whereas this holds the ground bait and the freebies till it gets to the bottom, then puffs them out. I have resisted the urge to put a heavier feeder on. Still only fishing with a 30 gram feeder. Only fishing maybe 40 metres, maybe at the most. I haven't measured it. When I first arrived down, I was chucking a lead out to try and find where the drop off is, how close it is to me. And I just got bored doing that, and I thought, fuck it, whack on a feeder and let's get some fishing done. Now, 10 fish. Normally 10 fish isn't a cause for celebration, but when they're of a significant stamp, it's a cause for celebration. Wind's a bit breezy, isn't it? sun is directly over my head now, so I have a funny feeling the fish that are in that trench, that deep drop-off trench, they're going to carry on feeding because they're in deeper water. Ooh, didn't want to lose you. They're in deeper water, whereas the fish in the shallower water is going to be moving towards the deeper water to get out of the bright light. Fish don't have eyelids, they can't blink. So I might still catch, but what we really want is a nice overcast cloud to come back. But while the wind's hacking this way, there ain't no cloud coming. So kinda buggered. The boat traffic's been hilarious. About 25 minutes ago there's a dude came up on a sailboat against the wind, and he trying to, at the channel there between the two, like there's an island and there's the bank here, and he was kind of smack in the middle where everyone moves their boats. He then took down, he chose that position to take down the sail. Well, up comes an idiot and goes on the inside of them, the shore side of them, with all the nice jaggy rocks to try and get rid of him, as opposed to just giving the guy 5 minutes and letting him put his sail down. People lack patience.
Eventually.
That looks like it's for today. Van is packed. Just have to do one thing, and that's weigh what we've got and take pictures. Ended up with 10 better quality fish. 3 of them, or 4 of them, were hybrids. The rest of them were Bream. Oh, and 1 micro perch, because wouldn't be a day on the Erne unless you caught micro perch. So I'm gonna weigh these now and then take a slow drive home. It's just gone about 6 o'clock, I think. I think it's gone about 6 o'clock. It's actually gone 6:15. So yeah, 6:15. Let's get these fish weighed and then we'll see what we got and get some pictures. Let's get them weighed. $10 kilos, 80. That's some real nice bream. Some really cracking bream today. That's one of the hybrids there. That's one of the Bream. And this, if I can hold it, is that's the way it's way over there. That was the biggest Bream of the day. Oh, and we have one more in there. Not so bad. Always love catching fish.
Later.
Well, that's a bit shit. Driving home. Blew a tire.